Good day, everyone. Today, I will be discussing the psychiatric disorder of child and adolescent disorder. So, child and adolescent disorder is refers to a group of mental health conditions that affect children and teenagers. This disorder impacts how a young person thinks, feels, behaves, and interacts with others. So, in simple terms, these are problems in development, emotions, or behavior that are more serious than normal childhood changes and can interfere with daily life like school, family, and social interaction. So, so in this report, we will discuss several important disorders including the mental retardation or intellectual disability, pervasive developmental disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorders, conduct disorders, feeding and eating disorders, tic disorders, and elimination disorders. Let's proceed to the mental retardation. So, ang mental retardation na ngayon ay mas tinatawag na intellectual disability ay isang kondisyon kung saan ang isang bata ay may mas mababang intellectual functioning kumpara sa normal na bata. So, ibig sabihin, ang IQ niya ay below 70 kaya mas mabagal ang pagkatuto at pag-unawa nila ng mga bagay. So, bukod sa mababang IQ, may kasama din itong malaking limitasyon sa adaptive functioning. So, adaptive functioning ay tumutukoy sa kakayahan ng bata na makapag-function sa araw-araw ng kanilang buhay. Halimbawa, nahihirapan sila sa communication skills, self-care, hirap sila mag-alaga sa sarili like sa pagligo at sa pagkain nila. And home living, hirap gumawa ng simpleng gawaing bahay. Social interpersonal skills, hirap makisama at makipag-interact sa iba. Self-direction, hirap sila magdesisyon or mag-manage ng kanilang sarili. And also, hirap din sila sa academic skills and health and safety. Hindi nila maintindihan kung ano ang delikado o ligtas. So, mental retardation or intellectual disability has a severity kung saan tinitignan natin kung gaano ba ka-substantial ang support na kailangan ng bata at gaano ba ka-weak ang kanyang adaptive and intellectual functioning. So, first ay tinatawag nating mild. So, kinakategorize ang individual na may mild intellectual disability kapag meron siyang IQ range na 50 to 70. So, under this level, ang bata ay meron pang kakayahang sumuport sa kanyang mga sarili sapagkat this level nakapag-adjust pa sila sa mga panlipunang pamantayan or rules. So, kung makikita mo itong mga bata na ito, hindi obvious na meron silang intellectual disability. Pero pag sa academic na makikita mo talaga na may delay sa pag-process ng information and in terms of adaptive skill, hindi sila nakakasunod sa mga regular na student. Pero ang level of support na kailangan ng mga batang may mild intellectual disability ay hindi gaano kabigat. Need mo lang siya i-prompt or encourage na at turuan gamit ang direct instruction at nakukuha niya yan siya agad. So, meron lang delay pero hindi siya ganun kalala. So, next is moderate level of intellectual disability. So, dito, medyo nahihirapan na ang bata sa pag-intindi ng mga konsepto kaya minsan nagkakaroon sila ng stress at pagkalito. Kailangan nila ng extra support at gabay. So, kahit ganun pa man, kaya rin nilang matuto at maging partly independent sa bahay at sa school basta may tumutulong at gumagabay sa kanila. So, next is severe. So, makakategorize natin ang bata na mayroong severe intellectual disability kapag ang range ng kanyang IQ ay nasa 20 to 35. So, expected na ang bata na mayroong severe intellectual disability ay medyo malaki ng pangangailangan kasi meron na lamang silang kaunting kasanayan sa pakikipagkomunikasyon at expected na the intellectual capacity ay limitado na masyado para maturuan sila ng mga konsepto ng academic tulad ng concept ng mathematics at science. So, hindi na nila yan kaya pero meron pang chance na ang bata ay maturuan pero on dependent level na. So, next is profound. So, under this level naman, meron na lamang kaunting kasanayan ang bata in terms of these conceptual skills, kung paano siya mag-process ng information and adaptive skills. Yung mga kakayahan niya para makasurvive sa pang-araw-araw at ang paggalaw ng kanyang katawan. So, naapektuhan na ang kanyang motor skills at kanyang fine skills. So, maabot na minsan sa hindi na siya marunong humawak ng kutsara, hindi na marunong magsulat. So, hindi na siya marunong humawak ng bagay na nakakaapekto doon sa pang-araw-araw ng kanyang buhay. At dahil doon sa kakulangan na yon, kailangan ng intensibong support ang mga bata na merong profound intellectual disability na minsan umaabot na sa kailangan ng bantayan at bigyan ng suporta in 24/7. So, next disorder is pervasive developmental disorder. So, it is a group of condition na nakaka-apekto sa communication, social interaction, at behavior ng bata. So, one of the most well-known condition under this category is autistic disorder or autism. Autistic disorder is karaniwang lumalabas before the age of 3, kadalasang nahihirapang makipag-interact sa ibang tao at mas interesado sa object kaysa sa social interaction. So, one of the earliest signs of autism is lack of eye contact and reduced social responsiveness. Hindi tumitingin kapag tinatawag ang kanyang pangalan. So another major feature is impaired communication. So some children with autism may have delayed speech development while others may not speak all. So may mga bata ring may echolalia, inuulit nila ang mga salitang naririnig nila. Children with autism also tend to show repetitive or ritualistic behavior such as repeatedly spinning objects, clapping their hands, or insisting on a strict routine. Yung kahit maliit na pagbabago sa routine ay nakakadulot na ng stress or tantrum sa bata. So, another disorder under pervasive developmental disorder ay ang Reit's disorder. So, this condition is a rare and occur almost exclusively in girls. Children with Reit's disorder initially develop normally, pero habang tumatagal ay nawawala ang previously learned skills tulad ng language at motor skills. Ang treatment ay similar sa autism management tulad ng supportive therapy and developmental intervention. Another related condition is Asperger's disease. So, may similarities sa autism, meron din siyang difficulty in social interaction and repetitive behaviors. And difference lang nila is si Asperger's ay walang delay sa language development. Si Asperger's ay very intelligent at magaling sa academic pero nahihirapan makipagkaibigan or umintindi ng social cues. Next, we will discuss attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or commonly known as ADHD. So, ADHD is the one of the most common psychiatric disorder in childhood. It is characterized by three main symptoms such as inattentiveness and hyperactivity and impulsivity behavior. So, inattentiveness behavior ay tumutukoy sa kakulangan ng focus at concentration like misses details, madalas gumagawa ng careless mistakes, lalo na sa schoolwork at homework. And also, difficulty sustaining attention, kung saan nahihirapan ang bata na mag-focus sa isang task, and doesn't seem to listen, does not follow through on chores and homework. And difficulty in organization, also avoid tasks requiring mental effort, often loses necessary things, nawawala ng mga importanteng bagay, and also easily distracted. So, in hyperactive and impulsive behavior naman is, ito naman yung sobrang active and hindi mapakali like fidgets, kung saan ang bata ay palaging gumagalaw ang paa at saka yung kamay niya. And often leaves it, example sa classroom o habang kumakain. And runs up or climbs excessively. And also can't play quietly, palaging energetic o parang laging on the go. Then, talk excessively and can't wait for turn. And minsan nakikialam or nanggugulo sa laro ng ibang bata like sa mga kapatid niya or sa playmates niya. So, for the treatment of ADHD, effective treatment combines pharmacotherapy with behavioral, psychosocial, and educational intervention. Some medication na ginagamit for ADHD are Ritalin, Dexedrine, and Adderall. So, Ritalin is para mabawasan ang hyperactive behavior ng bata. And Dexedrine naman is para mapabuti ang attention and mabawasan ang impulsive behavior. And also, ang Adderall is ito yung common na prescribed medication for ADHD. And para mapataas ang concentration and makontrol ang impulsive behavior and mabawasan ang hyperactivity. Next disorder is conduct disorder. So it is a psychiatric condition na kadalasang nakikita sa mga bata and adolescents. It is characterized by persistent antisocial behavior. Ibig sabihin, ang bata ay paulit-ulit na gumagawa ng mga behavior na lumalabag sa rights ng tao at sa social rules. Dahil dito naapektuhan ang kanilang ability na makapag-function sa social, academic at occupational areas tulad sa school, sa bahay at sa pakikisalamuha sa ibang tao. So, symptoms are aggression or cruelty to people and animals, nananakit ng kapwa-tao or maging malupit sa mga hayop, and also bullying, threatening or intimidating others. Physical fights kung saan ang bata ay madalas nakikipag-away or nakikipag-suntukan. Use weapons tulad ng kutsilyo o iba pang bagay na maaaring makasakit. For sexual activities, destruction of property, paninira ng mga gamit o ari-arian ng iba. And also lying and theft, serious rule violations such as truancy and running away tulad ng paglabas ng bahay ng magdamag na walang pahintulot ng magulang. So, there are severity of conduct disorder. So, first is mild. Mayroon ilang conduct problems but minor harm lamang ang nagagawa sa ibang tao. Halimbawa ay pagsisinungaling, truancy, or pag-uwi ng late ng walang permiso. And for moderate, mas dumadami ang problematic behavior at mas malaki ang epekto nito sa ibang tao. Example is vandalism or paninira ng property and pagnanakaw. And for severe is maraming conduct problems at malaki na ang harm na nagagawa sa ibang tao like cruelty to animals, paggamit ng weapons, burglary, robbery for sexual activities. So, risk factor is genetic vulnerability. Ibig sabihin, maaaring may family history ng behavioral or psychiatric problems. And also environmental adversity tulad ng poor family environment, abuse, or exposed sa violence. So next disorder is feeding and eating disorder. So we have pica. So ito yung kumakain ng mga bagay na hindi pagkain o non-nutritive substances. So occasionally occur in pregnant women. So, tumatagal ng ilang months at minsan ay kusa rin itong nawawala. And napapansin lamang ng doktor ang pica kapag nagkakaroon na ng medical complication like bowel obstruction, infection, poisoning dahil sa mga kinain na hindi pagkain. So, next we have rumination disorder. Ito naman is yung lahat ng kinakain ng tao ay nagba-backflow. So, very rare and karamihan sa case na may ganito is kusang nawawala, but in some cases naman maaring magpatuloy ang condition and it can affect sa nutrition ng isang tao. Next disorder is tic disorder. So, it is a sudden, rapid, and repetitive movement and vocal na hindi kontrolado ng tao. So, it is non-rhythmic, ibig sabihin hindi ito regular na pattern at kadalasang bigla na lang nangyayari. Two common tics are motor and vocal tics. So, in motor tics, this involves sudden body movements. Example include blinking, jerking the neck, ito yung sudden head movements, shrugging the shoulders, grimacing, unusual facial expression, coughing, facial gesture, jumping, touching or smelling object repeatedly. So, these movements are usually quick and repetitive and sometimes worsen with stress and anxiety. So, in vocal tics naman, this involve making sound or words. Example include clearing the throat, grunting, sniffing, barking sounds, and also coprolalia, saying socially inappropriate or obscene words. And also palilalia, repeating one's own words over and over. Echolalia, repeating word or phrases from other. So, we have type of tic disorder. So, number one is Tourette's. So, ibig sabihin, may multiple motor tics and one or more vocal tics na nangyayari ng maraming beses sa isang araw. So, tumatagal ang Tourette's ng higit sa isang taon. So, another type is chronic motor or vocal tic disorder. So, it's either motor or vocal tic lang ang meron but not both type. So, number 3 is transient tic disorder. So, it involves either single or multiple vocal or motor tics pero temporary lamang at tumatagal ng hindi higit sa isang taon. So, etiology maaaring mamana sa pamilya or maaaring abnormal transmission ng dopamine sa brain. And for treatment, we have risperidone. So, ito yung nakakatulong bawasan ang frequency and severity ng tics. And meron din tayong olanzapine. So, nakaka-help kontrolin ng motor at vocal tics. And also need ng sapat na pahinga and stress management. So, lastly is elimination disorder. So, we have encopresis. Ito yung pagdumi sa inappropriate places like sa damit at sa sahig. So, kadalasan itong involuntary. Ibig sabihin, hindi sinasadya ng bata but sa ibang case, maaari rin itong intentional. So, if intentional is related sa behavior disorder tulad ng conduct disorder. Next is enuresis. Ito naman ay mas kilala bilang bedwetting. Ito ay ang paulit-ulit na pag-ihi sa kama or sa damit. Like encopresis, ito ay kadalasang involuntary and maaari nitong intentional lalo na kung may kasamang behavioral problems. So, for treatment, for enuresis is topranil. So, it is an antidepressant with side effect of urinary retention and also behavioral approaches for both disorder and bed pad with a warning bell, positive reinforcement for continence. That's all. Thank you.